There's a city in the Cosmere that you may not even know exists. It sits outside the physical realm. It controls access to at least 3 different places. It may house one of the 4 Dawnshards. And yet, I feel like it's the Cosmere's biggest secret, and I never see anyone else talk about it. So in this video, I want to break down Silverlight, the city-state in the cognitive realm that I think might actually be the Cosmere's biggest vulnerability. This video is going to be broken down into 3 parts. First, I'm going to talk about what Silverlight even is, and how I think it functions as the Cosmere's most important hub for travel, trade, and information. Second, I'm going to talk about some of the characters that are connected to Silverlight, including some that I think may be obvious if you've read the Stormlight Archive or Mistborn, but others that I think are kind of like come out of nowhere. And third, I'll explain why, as the Cosmere moves towards like open interplanetary conflict, why I think Silverlight is almost certainly going to become contested, and what happens if like the wrong players get hold of it. We have a lot of ground to cover in this video, so if you want to skip to any of the sections that I just talked about, I'll put up timestamps so you can just like skip directly to them. And this video will primarily draw from Isles of the Emberdark, but it'll also include spoilers for all of the Stormlight Archive up until the end of Wind and Truth, and then Mistborn Eras 1 and 2 as well. So let's get into it. Oh, but first, as a reminder, if you like this kind of content, please hit like and please subscribe. You can also now become a member of this channel. It's a way to like support my content, but also I'll take requests for deep dives on specific topics. So if there's anything that you want me to dig into, that's the way to kind of like send or task me. So yeah, let's start. Okay, so starting off, what is Silverlight and why does it matter? And Silverlight is a city that's located in the cognitive realm. And it's actually more accurately, I think, a city-state located in the cognitive realm, which is also known as Shadesmar if you've read the Stormlight Archive, or the Emberdark in Isles of the Emberdark. And as a reminder, in the Cosmere, reality exists along 3 realms. The physical realm is like where most of the stories take place. The cognitive realm is like the realm of thought and perception. And the spiritual realm deals with like connection and identity. So Silverlight is already unique for existing entirely in the cognitive realm. And Silverlight has this like really interesting and deep history that really goes back millennia. As a portion in Isles of the Emberdark puts it, it was a full city inside Shadesmar, one of the first multicultural settlements in the Cosmere with a history going back millennia. That history really is tied to the dragons of the Cosmere. I have a full video that I did on the dragons of the Cosmere, but what's unique about Silverlight is that it initially started off as basically dragons' dens, it seems like, and then as the dragons became more powerful and they built their civilization, those dragons' dens like became palaces. And today, what Silverlight is those palaces have morphed into these like really tall, impressive skyscrapers. What truly sets Silverlight apart though is what it sits on top of, or what's under it essentially, that allows it to dominate travel in the Cosmere. And that is what is known as the Silverlight Nexus. Under the city, lighting it from beneath, is this like glowing sun-like structure that's actually a perpendicularity. And this Silverlight Nexus isn't just any perpendicularity. It's a perpendicularity that allows travel to 3 separate locations in the Cosmere. Now, perpendicularities are growing increasingly important in the Cosmere, and that's because they basically allow you to portal between worlds, so they allow this like incredibly efficient movement between planets. And as a result, a lot of the perpendicularities in the Cosmere, including as we see in Isles of the Emberdark, are growing contested between different powers in the Cosmere, or different planetary powers in the Cosmere. But Silverlight isn't just any perpendicularity. It's a perpendicularity that offers access to 3 different worlds in the Cosmere, And crucially, only one is confirmed right now. That's Yolin, and Yolin was the origin of almost all life in the Cosmere. Its own history goes back to the time that predates Adenalium's shattering, and it's one of the most mysterious and hidden planets in its own right in the Cosmere. So Silverlight's connection to Yolin really is notable and unique. As far as I can tell, the other two destinations are also a complete mystery. And I really have no sense, tell me in the comments if you have an idea, but I really have no sense of where they could be. One half thought I have is that potentially Braze and Canical, which are two like really unique and weird planets in their own right. But it matters because whoever controls Silverlight doesn't just control that city-state, they control access to the Cosmere. The second thing that really I think makes Silverlight unique is that I think it operates as the Cosmere's most important commercial hub, with, I'm gonna argue, these like secret resources that other people in the Cosmere don't even know about yet. Silverlight probably is the birthplace of an enterprise known as the Silverlight Mercantile, which seems like it has reach across the Cosmere. We see the Silverlight Mercantile in at least two different books. In Mistborn, The Lost Metal, Harmony uses the Silverlight Mercantile to deliver mail in the cognitive realm. And then in the Stormlight Archive in Wind and Truth, Wit shows off a watch that he has that he says that he procured from the Silverlight Mercantile, which I think kind of makes the Silverlight Mercantile feel like the Amazon of the Cosmere, but only for like those in the know. Silverlight also seems to have seemingly unlimited resources of a material known as Dragonsteel. There's a note in Isles of the Underdark which says that the city's architectural aesthetic was to build tall instead of wide, with Dragonsteel supports ultralight and extremely strong. And that detail I think really matters. As I mentioned, Silverlight's history is kind of connected to the rise of the dragons, and it seems like it's Dragonsteel that helped build up Silverlight to the advanced civilization that it is today. And we don't really know, I feel like, what exactly Dragonsteel is, but it clearly is something important, at least enough to like something like aluminum or something to hold up major structures and potentially other applications as well. To me, all of this suggests that Silverlight is quietly rich. The third characteristic that really makes Silverlight unique is because it is basically the center of advanced scholarship in the Cosmere. Silverlight hosts some of the Cosmere's most renowned universities, and the scholars within these universities are doing research into like the Cosmere's biggest secrets. Things like the uses of investiture, real matic theory, the history of life, Adenalium, like all of these things that like really matter and have potentially really like important and intense applications. And Silverlight is not the place where they don't understand what they're doing. Like in Silverlight, it seems like information is traded like currency. And so I think if there's one group of people that can really weaponize secrets, it's the people of Silverlight. And that brings us to the second part of this video, the residents of Silverlight, because they have more going on than you may think. The residents of Silverlight are known as lighters. I mentioned earlier that Silverlight is this like multicultural settlement with different people from different planets that have all settled there. And those residents generally have taken up their own identity, which leads them to like coin themselves lighters. And some of these lighters I think may already be familiar. Notably, there's Iadel, who we see in the Stormlight Archive, and her brother Delabil, who we see in Mistborn. And those are both members of the Ghostbloods, and they originate from Silverlight. Another one that you may have seen is Chris, who is known as one of the Cosmere's foremost scholars. While she's not originally from Silverlight, she's actually from the planet known as Taldane. She appears to have founded a university in Silverlight, and she's definitely associated with the scholarship that's going on in the city. And so I would characterize her as a lighter as well. But this is where things really escalate, because there's two other people that I think are in Silverlight that you may not have realized, and to me feels like it comes out of nowhere. I know I said spoilers, but spoilers for the end of the Stormlight Archive up to the end of Wind and Truth in this next section in particular. Isles of the Underdark reveals that Huio, who is a Herdazian member of Bridge 4 and a cousin of the Lopen, has made his way to Silverlight. And that alone is interesting for his character development. We saw a lot of Huio in the novella Dawnshard, where he kind of already displayed like a little bit of a scientific mind. He worked with Risen, who's the main character of that novella, to like make advances in favorable technology. So there is a logic that somehow he finds his way to the center, to the Cosmere's like Center for Scholarship. But it also implies something much bigger. In Wind and Truth, Huio and Risen become business partners in order to monetize the technology that they jointly developed, which enables safer and more kind of like seamless travel. And at the end of Wind and Truth, Risen is required essentially, I think, to travel off-world in order to protect the Dawnshard that she's holding. So I think that their technology and Risen's need to escape Roshar strongly suggests that she used the technology that she developed with Huio to travel off Roshar. And if Huio landed up in Silverlight, then so did Risen. And if Risen is in Silverlight, that means there's a Dawnshard in Silverlight. Which means that by the time of the Isles of the Embadar, Silverlight houses perpendicularities to 3 different places, a Dawnshard, and, you know, just the Cosmere's biggest secrets and the biggest resources. That's not a neutral city. That's like a choke point. But this leads me to the third part of this video, because while I think Silverlight has all this power or things taking place within its borders, I think it's actually extraordinarily vulnerable for 2 reasons. One is that it's protected by the dragons, which looks like a strength, but I think is actually a weakness. And 2 is because the nature of the Silverlight Nexus causes time dilation that I think really weakens Silverlight's response times. Let's take those 2 points one at a time. Starling explains that Silverlight is protected by the authority and the power of the dragons themselves. And dragons really are incredibly powerful. They have this like really unique connection to the spiritual realm. They are all but impossible or really difficult to kill. They have this like advanced civilization. So it really does look like a strength. It makes Silverlight seem like it's protected well. But I really don't think that's the case. We learn in Isles of the Embadar that dragons have chosen to withdraw from political life and chosen essentially neutrality in the Cosmere. I really think that that neutrality is going to backfire. Perpendicularities are becoming too vulnerable, a Dawnshard is too valuable, and as forces like the Night Brigade or Scadrial as a planet or Roshar as a planet grow, Silverlight really does become impossible for them to ignore. This means, I think, that dragons will have to choose sides in this like political conflict. And I don't think dragons will be able to rise to that challenge. Right now, they seem really dispersed and pursuing their own parochial interests. So if they need to rally together quickly, if they need to like rally together some sort of response to aggression, I'm not sure that they're going to be able to do that without at least some chaos. In fact, I'm not even sure that all of the dragons will like choose to necessarily defend Silverlight if it comes to it. So that idea of protection, I think, really could be surface level more than it reflects reality. The second reason that I think Silverlight is really vulnerable is because of its proximity to the Silverlight Nexus, which causes time dilation in that city-state. 1 day in Silverlight is equal to roughly 10 days outside of it. And on the one hand, like, that seems great. Like, it means, like, you can live, like, a really long time in Silverlight, and that's how, like, people like Huio or Risen may be living much longer than they would have if they were on Roshar, for example. But on the other hand, I think it means that events in the wider Cosmere can unfold much more quickly than residents of Silverlight have time to react. They only have 1 day to like get their shit together to whatever might be happening outside compared to the 10 days that other people have. And that, I think, makes it vulnerable. All of this means that I think Silverlight is going to be contested pretty soon, I think. There's too much going on and it's too weak. And so somebody, I think, will end up at least trying, and I think potentially succeeding, to take control of Silverlight with all the knowledge and the resources and the like raw power that I think it offers. If that happens, I think it could make Silverlight like the battle center of whatever Cosmere empire is trying to institute its place. So yeah, would love to know what you think about this analysis in the comments below. And as I mentioned, if you like this content, please like and subscribe. But also, if you want to ask me or task me to do any deep dives, please join as a member of the channel and you can send requests my way. Thank you, everyone. Thanks for watching.